Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, get together every week and talk about nerd shit. This week we are one man down. Luis is not with us, but for this week, we are your hosts, Ed Ball and
Miguel Sanchez.
There he is. And so yes, we are one man short, but we'll do our best to carry on. And it's a pretty light episode this week. We don't have a feature discussion this week, but we have some big trailers that dropped. We have a bit of a box office, update, and we're going to continue on our new little segment. We can talk about this now.
Yeah, we can.
Which, if you're just joining us for the first time, we'll elaborate on that when we get to it. But first off, Miguel.
Hey,
we not only had one, but two trailers set within Gotham City.
Yeah, we did. Man, Gotham's been busy.
Gotham is always busy. Crime continues on. Yeah. So the Amazon Prime has been throwing out a Batman project here and there, and they're coming out with a new animated show, movie. Batman Caped Crusader, which is coming out on Prime August 1st.
It's a Leo.
You what?
Batman's a Leo.
Oh, because he's coming out that day?
Yeah.
Great.
This is going to be a great episode.
Yeah. We're making star references already.
Me and the guy who doesn't yes and anything just for 2 hours.
No, let me stop the flow immediately. Miguel, we don't have to talk about this too much. Did you watch this trailer?
No, I didn't, but can I tell you why I didn't?
Yeah, go.
I got a hot take.
All right.
You ready for it? I don't give a shit about Batman animated movies anymore, okay?
Okay.
I just don't. Listen, it's hard to top Mask of the Phantasm that came out 30 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there have been other good ones. I'm sure the internet will eat me alive about it. But no, they won't.
But there are so many.
There's so many, and every time a new animated DC movie like this comes out, they're always like, "Oh, so and so has been cast as Batman." Right. And first off, it fucks me up because I'm on Twitter. I'm like, "Oh my god, they just cast another Batman," right. And then I'm like, "Oh, it's the animated. It's an animated movie, so it doesn't really matter." You know what I mean?
And but how many? Like we've gone through so many. And,
it just cannot be all that cool anymore to be like, oh god, you're not calling home as an actor being like, Mom, I just booked the role of a lifetime.
I'm Batman
in a booth for 45 minutes and then I'm done. That sounds like I'm shitting. That sounds like I'm shitting on voiceover actors, and I'm not doing that. I'm just kind of overdone with the whole
it definitely is an overdone market. I feel like you get 2 or 3 of these every year. However, I'm a little bit more, I guess, open towards the Batman animated movies of late. Not that I keep up with all of them, but remember I went on like a little rabbit hole of animated movies before the last Batman. And it was cool. I mean, there were some good ones, some not so good ones, but
so are you drawn to this one at all? Like what's catching your eye?
Actually, I felt like I dug the animation, I dug the theme. They're kind of going with like that super origin Batman look.
Okay.
Like with the kind of curved horns.
Yeah.
What would you call that? Just like original era, like classic era Batman?
Yeah. It looks like that, like golden age. Not even golden age. You know what I mean? Like that very first Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the early days. Which looks like is the story. I'll quickly just read out the synopsis. Gotham City, where the corrupt outnumber the good, criminals run rampant, and law-abiding citizens. We all know that. Forged in the fire of tragedy, wealthy socialite Bruce Wayne becomes something both more and less than human. The Batman.
Even reading it right now, you're like, I'm a little tired. You're serious. It's like,
I mean, it's nothing new.
We know.
It doesn't give you any details about the plot whatsoever.
However, God, what was he forged in the fire of tragedy? That's like the fanciest way to be like, you know what happened.
His parents died.
His parents are fucking dead.
Yeah. And but you know what? Like I was saying, I was kind of drawn to this trailer. If it was a good trailer, I probably will check this out. Though you know, I always wonder like, yeah, if Prime is producing these, like, what's the level? You know what I mean? I guess. But they got a good voice cast. It's got like Christina Ricci as Harley Quinn. No, she's someone. Doesn't matter. We're not going to get into the cast right now. But
guys, just Google it, okay?
Just Google it, guys. It's not my job. But yeah, they got Two-Face, Clayface, Penguin showing up, Catwoman.
Wow.
And you already said the Penguin, but you know he's coming up in another series,
we got
a live action series, and yeah, I guess it's just called the Penguin series coming to Max. We've already hinted at this series before when they came out with like a
promo or something, right?
Yeah, it's like a Max promo thing.
Yeah.
Well, now they've come out with a full teaser trailer. You get a better glimpse at everything going on. So it's following the events of the Batman. Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, makes a play to seize the reins of the crime world in Gotham. Sounds about right. We get to meet Carmine Falcone, Sophia Falcone, and some other players who I'm not familiar with, I guess, yet. But did you catch this trailer again?
I did watch this trailer, okay. Listen, Colin Farrell as the Penguin was like kind of a surprise hit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when he was originally cast, it was like, originally they wanted Jonah Hill for it. You know what I mean? And Jonah Hill didn't want to do it. He wanted to do the Riddler. I don't even remember all that. But it's like, I mean, the Penguin was a really great character of that movie, and Colin Farrell like really made it intriguing. I like this idea that, because like the Penguin is, I don't want to say dweeby's not the right word, but like the Penguin is not like a character that's ever really like scared me. You know what I mean? Like he is like a criminal, you know, boss, like a crime boss, and he's got like this mafia style family or you know, henchmen and things like that. And that all can be kind of tough and scary.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, I never thought he was formidable, you know, himself.
Sure.
But Colin Farrell just like gives him this like kind of like, yeah, I could see you being a little bit of a badass, this version of the Penguin.
He is like a little rougher as a gangster in the Batman. And from what it seems like here, too. Like he's okay to get his hands dirty, where you always picture the Penguin as kind of not proper, but I don't know, a little dressed up, a little theatrical.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is an interesting take on it. Yeah, I mean, you know, we are in that age of, you know, just a series for every IP and all of that. So I am still hesitant about it, but Matt Reeves is involved. You know, I like the Batman. So, you know, I'm cautiously optimistic for this one.
Yeah.
And, you know, for however many, 3-4 years we're waiting until the Batman Part 2.
It's something to...
Yeah, wet our beaks a little bit, if I may use a bird reference. I will say that the one thing that isn't doing it for me, aside from the casting for Sophia Falcone, is the cinematography.
You don't like the casting?
I don't think so. I mean, just because I have a very different picture.
You read that book.
Yeah. I have a very different idea of what Sophia should look like, and that's on me, really. I'm sure she'll be fine. But the
cinematography lacking?
It just doesn't feel like they're trying to go for that kind of gloomy, glossy look of the Batman with kind of like a vignette in the feel to it. I just feel like it's not translating well. It's almost distracting. At least it was for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it does look a little plain, you know. Yeah. As far as that, I can get that. Yeah. And I kind of on the same page. I'm a little worried about this whole series for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That you mentioned, and it's like DC's already doing this like revamp of the whole thing. We're getting all these new characters. James Gunn is going to cram in as many characters into Superman. We'll talk later, but as many as he can. And it kind of feels like the same with just any DC character is going to get its own property right now.
Yeah.
And I just liked that Matt Reeves' Batman wasn't that, you know? Arguably the same thing as like what's happening to Star Wars and Marvel over at Disney. You know what I mean?
Sure,
it's kind of watering down the properties.
Oversaturated.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I liked Colin Farrell as the Penguin, so I'm willing to give that a shot for sure.
Right.
And shout out Eric Jew. I mean, you know, he worked on that show. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So when it comes out, we'll have to have him on so he can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to pick his brain about it.
So, and kind of for him too, like, even if I was a little cold for him, I'm going to watch it. Cause I'm like, okay, you know, he put in work on it. So I might as well and maybe I'll end up really enjoying it, you know?
Yeah. It'll be, like I said, it'll just be interesting to see how that world that they established with the Batman will translate.
You think Batman's going to show
up? No, I think they're going to allude to him.
Right at the tail end, the cape will flutter across the frame.
Yeah, like they'll make references to him on TV and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna see Batman. Maybe we'll see Batman on TV, but we're gonna see another kind of Bat in the theater come Christmas Day, Miguel.
Yes, Edward.
My personal most anticipated movie of the year.
Wow, you gotta wait all year. Oh, sorry,
Robert Eggers Nosferatu. They finally dropped the first trailer for it. They put it in front of the bike riders, and then they released it on Monday, I think.
So you got to see it in front of you. You saw bike riders, right?
I
did. See it
I did.
Ooh, tell me about you watching the trailer for the first time in the theater.
Oh, it wasn't the first time in the theater. I had seen it already, but it was very cool.
Oh, because you saw. I see. For some reason, I thought you saw it.
I saw the bike riders last night. So I had already seen the trailer, but still very impactful. I can't wait.
I gotta say, man, what a top shelf trailer. Okay.
Oh yeah.
What a great trailer that was. Okay. Nice. I just watched it again before we recorded, and I mean, it's perfectly sets up the thrill of it all. Kind of hinting at Nosferatu. I love the one or two shots they have of him that you can't really see him, right? Especially that last one. I noticed this time he's got like a dog with him or something.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's terrifying. Okay,
it's so still and quiet. It just
Robert Eggers. I remember him saying recently, what was the last movie he had that came out?
The Northman.
Well, maybe he was just being quoted for something. He was just saying, he was talking about The Witch, and he was talking about how, like, oh, I wish I could go back kind of deal, because he was like, I've learned so much since then.
Yeah.
And you know, he was kind of, I don't want to misquote him, but it was something along the lines of like, he just was kind of like, I just didn't nail that the way I wanted to.
Yeah, he said that a few times. Yeah, like as his first feature film, like reflecting on it, there are some things he would have done differently. That he's put into his other movies. Like, he felt like The Witch was completely humorless, which he like, and you could tell he upped that in The Lighthouse. But yeah, I mean,
I do think he's gotten better. You know what I mean? He's like really honed in his craft.
Yeah, 100%. I love The Witch. I mean, I'll bat for that all the time. I mean, I've loved all of his movies so far. But you're right. He's like, it's like with a little bit more budget each time. He makes the most of it. I'm very excited to see what he does with this. And
people turn up for his movies, man.
Yeah. And I mean,
a Christmas Day, Christmas Day release.
Day. Yeah.
Come on,
that's insane. I'm not going to be able to see it on Christmas Day, but best believe day after.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. Here, mother, take the child, and I've got to go see the movie. But yeah, no, this looks great. It's got Willem Dafoe, Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson,
your favorite,
Lily Rose Depp, and Bill Skarsgård as the formidable Nosferatu. I'm so grateful that we don't get a proper look at him. I hope it stays that way, but I'm content to say that I'm not going to see another trailer after this.
Oh, for sure would not. For sure would not.
Yeah.
This was a really great trailer.
Yeah.
All another trailer is going to do is ruin it.
Right.
You know, like the
100%.
mysteriousness of it all was so good. I'll watch this trailer a million more times. I love finding trailers that I go back to. Like, why am I still watching? Doesn't matter. Why am I still watching the Star Wars The Last Jedi trailer? You know what I mean? Like, people hate that movie, but that trailer is phenomenal.
Will shake you. Yeah.
I quote it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I saw whoa. You know what I mean? I'm like, yes.
Now I want to watch it. As soon as we hang up here, I'm gonna.
I'll send you a list of trailers that I always go back and watch when I'm like just sitting on the couch not doing anything.
Next time we have like a dead episode, we're gonna have to talk about trailers.
Baby, please! I have been wanting to put together like a ranking of trailers. I'm gonna start doing it. doing it. Look, I don't want to overtalk this movie. I'm excited for it.
Very excited. So yeah, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
The trailer's out there now. Go check it out.
I tell you what, man, like I'm like a devout follower of Robert Eggers now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, God, I hope it lives up to it. But, you know, I don't know. Like 3 movies in, I feel confident in what he's doing. And this was a passion project of his, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like, this is gonna maybe awards buzz. Who knows? I'm not gonna get too hopeful. Horror movies don't usually fare well for Oscars.
Listen, but your faith will be tested. Okay,
it will.
Yeah,
absolutely. Come Christmas Day, Jesus or Robert Eggers
or the vampire.
The vampire.
You know who else is having some test of faith?
Oh, who?
I don't know their names, Ed. I was gonna just kind of throw it to you.
Let's just say Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant is having a test of faith.
Yeah,
he's putting up a test of faith in the new A24 movie trailer, Heretic. This movie has apparently been under wraps for a little while, but they just came out with like a little synopsis. 2 young missionaries are forced to prove their faith when they knock on the wrong door and are greeted by a diabolical Mr. Reed. I love that name, by the way. Becoming ensnared in his deadly game of cat and mouse.
Wow. That's what I
Miguel,
saw.
Did you watch this trailer?
I did watch a trailer. I watched it a few nights ago, and I didn't really remember much of it, so I watched it again tonight. And I like the way that builds. I'm just kind of into this like horror vibe right now. Like all of these trailers that have been coming out for these movies, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see that movie. You know, they're all scary.
There's always a part of me that's just like, can Hugh Grant really do this? You know, I grew up with this guy as a heartthrob rom-com star.
Yeah.
And the last few years, he's definitely done way more interesting roles. But like there is always that. Did you watch that one he did with Nicole Kidman?
Paddington 2? Yeah. We talked about it.
But that's a good testament to that. But no, it was like an HBO show, The Promise or something.
Oh, that sounds familiar. No,
but like he was like, spoilers, he was a murderer. He murdered like this girl he was having an affair with.
Is that the fucking reveal of the show that he's the murderer?
No, that's like the whole thing.
Dumb
is
piece
like
of shit.
The whole thing is him being on trial for her murder, kind of thing.
But it's the whole. Never mind. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we will. Anyway, but yeah, that was one of those roles. So he's clearly enjoying this little thing, though it's always him. As in, like, it's always Hugh Grant. You know, like he's just like a character actor, but it's always just kind of him.
It's still Hugh Grant.
So it's I always do wonder, like, suspension of disbelief. Like, can he make it convincing enough to pull it off? You know, it's an A24 film, so got to give it some benefit of the doubt, I guess. But I don't know. I was into this trailer. You know me, I like a crisis of faith. So if he's using that, if he's weaponizing that could be very interesting. It doesn't give away too much.
Yeah.
But it's a nice setup. And the blueberry pie scented candle is basically the poster for this movie.
What? Yeah. I didn't know what I was supposed to get from that. I don't.
That he, like, set he like lit that candle just to make it seem like he had a wife who was baking a pie.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Because he said she's making the pie. He said, "I'll go check on the pie," and that's when
how
she
he got
noticed
the girls in the house in the first place. Yeah.
Which, listen, I'm not one to victim blame. Okay.
Here we go.
But they were like, "Oh, well, and that. Listen, that's for safety." They were like, "Hey, we can't come in if there's not another woman present." I don't know, safety right. or they're just like their beliefs or whatever. But he was just like, "Oh yeah, she's just right in here. Why don't you just come on in and see her?" And they were like, "Okay." I was like, "No, bring her to the door." You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I mean, I thought that was kind of like the whole point of them going in twos. Yeah, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, they were like, "No, we need a third woman."
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting premise, and I'm down to see where it goes.
He says, I love it because he sets up this whole, you're going to walk through one of these doors and you're going to, based on your faith, you're going to choose the right door. Right. And one is belief and one is disbelief. And then he also says, when you get down there, you're going to witness a miracle. And it's like, oh, okay, this is intriguing. Like, it's like Saw. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. Like, and the fact that he has like a miniature... Mm-hmm. Sorry. For our audience, I'm pouring a glass. Just couldn't hold it in. That's how committed I am. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
I might watch this one at home.
Yeah. Maybe.
There's maybe a few other horror movies that I'd maybe go see in theaters.
Sure. Yeah, like Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, I for sure want to see that one. That one looks really good.
Well, we're talking about movies that come out in November, Miguel. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening this summer and where we're at with our summer movie wager.
Let's do it.
The latest entry, my friend, was Bike Riders, and it came in with a whopping $10 million. The only reason I'm mentioning this movie is because...
And we're talking domestic numbers, just to refresh.
We're talking domestic numbers, 10 million.
Yeah.
It made like 13 total worldwide.
I tried to give it a little benefit of the doubt, The whole worldwide film community was like, no. Tell Tom Hardy, tell him to stop doing the goddamn voices.
But honestly, for a Jeff Nichols movie, it was a good opening. Like, it's probably his strongest opening yet. I mean, it's a very independently driven film, not a huge budget. And really the only reason we even mention it, Miguel, is because you had it on one of your wild cards.
Yeah, you guys, this is the summer of when vibes go wrong. You know what I mean? I just was like consulting the wind and was like, lead me in the direction of the winner. And yeah, when it came to wild cards,
motorcycle, the wind in your hair.
When it came to the wild cards, I was like, let me throw a couple on here that I for sure won't go see. But maybe there will be. It's a wild card, right? Like that's the hope,
right? Exactly.
That's. Don't worry.
Well, talking about vibes. I mean, real quick, just running down the list. Furiosa is officially out of the top 10 of the box office, rounded out at a paltry 66 million.
I will never forgive that. I will never forgive that.
No, it's such a shame. I really
should have thrown it. I wonder. No, we'll be here all night. I'm not going to talk about
it. The Garfield movie still kind of going strong, but petering out at 85.8. The Fall Guy also fell out of the top 10 at 90 million. If is at 106.9. Bad Boys Ride or Die at 149. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, 164.6, and Inside Out, a whopping 356 million in
domestic,
just over a week and a half at this point.
That is insane. No one, I don't think anyone here was. I mean, maybe Luis had it kind of high on his list.
He did,
but
yeah.
I don't, and maybe he truly believed in this movie. But I just don't think you and me, I don't think either of us were like, this is going to make a fucking ton of money.
After fucking Elemental opened to 35 million, I think it did.
Yeah,
You felt
the
like, ooh, maybe this one.
powerhouse of this movie, man. Like
Yeah,
it came out swinging.
yeah. Second week, 100 mil. First
No,
week, 150.
when you texted me that earlier this week, my
Yeah,
jaw dropped. I could
yeah.
not believe that in the very next weekend, it still made
100.
domestically
That's an
$100 million.
man.
2
Crazy.
weekends in a row.
Yeah.
That is printing money. You know
I
we're
didn't
about to get
have,
a
yeah,
million
I
more
had
of
nothing
these.
to compete with this weekend. So,
I listen, guys. I will lose this summer, 100%. Okay, I'm not doing great right now, and I expect some other movies will come out and bump me up a little bit higher.
yeah, yeah.
But those movies are also on y'all's list, kind of higher, and it's like it's just going to bump y'all up even
I mean,
further.
being
So
Luis, I mean, I had Furiosa at number 2. I had The Fall Guy at number 3 or 4, something
yeah,
ridiculous. So
A
don't
Quiet
worry.
Place. Quiet Place is coming out this weekend, and I already know that's going to disappoint the shit out of me too.
Is it really this weekend?
I think so. Yeah,
Ooh,
June sometime. I think June's
yeah.
almost over. So
Man, I'm ready for Horizon,
man, I'm
American
ready,
Saga.
partner.
Oh, and
Hollywood.
Kinds of Kindness, which will be opening this weekend in select cities, which
Yeah,
is the
but that's
Yorgos
not on your 10.
Lanthimos movie.
That's not on your top 10 though, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Well, that wraps that up.
I genuinely believe it's going to be Luis's year. Okay. I think like Despicable Me. Hopefully,
I'm gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt.
Despicable Me is gonna. You were talking about that this weekend with me. Like it's definitely gonna bump. It's gonna have a good run. But I just don't see it doing as well as Inside Out is doing right now. You know what I mean?
I guess solely because I just did not expect Inside Out to make this kind of money. But
$100
like I
million
said,
2 weekends in a row. Come on.
by the time Despicable Me comes out, maybe the families will have run out of, they need something fresh to take their kids to.
Yeah.
And Despicable Me, the Minions, all of that.
Those
movies make so much money, but we'll see.
My kid's going to go see that one.
They actually tend to make more money overseas. So, no. But no, I'm sure it's going to make money regardless. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think any of us saw Inside Out doing this well. And at the rate it's going, it's definitely going to cross that big old Billy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was starting to think this summer wasn't going to happen.
No way Inside Out 2 makes $1 billion.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Man, I do think it's going to make a lot of money. Well, what's the worldwide total? I didn't think
let me pull it up. You keep talking.
So I was saying no way $1 billion, but no, we're just talking domestic. It's already 356. Okay. And it's going to be updated by the time this episode comes out. I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Okay. Updated domestic gross right now is 387. It's already about to cross 400.
Wow.
And worldwide, it's 799.
Shut the fuck up.
It's already. This is the
2 weekends.
2 weekends. So, I think it's going to have no problem crossing $1 billion.
Okay, all right.
Unless it suddenly drops off the planet, like Disney's just like, nah, we're going to just pull it back.
That's enough money.
No more thanks. Quit while you're ahead, right?
Oh my God.
Tell me it's not going to make 200 million.
You're absolutely
from where it
right.
is now.
Yeah. Okay.
Good for it. I'm happy for it. It was a good movie. If it was a bad movie, I would be more upset.
I almost took my kid to go see it again this weekend, trying to just get him out of the house.
I had friends, like grown-up friends, hitting me up saying, "Hey, did you go see Inside Out already?" It's like, well, yeah. Sorry, I didn't think of you, but but people are going to see it. It really resonated with people, so you can only give credit to Pixar for that.
Wow. Okay, well, the summer is waging.
Yeah, I'm fucking done talking about the summer movie box office. How about you?
Yeah, I'm over it.
Let's talk about this now.
We can talk about this now.
Let's talk about this now.
So if you haven't heard our new segment, which is relatively new, okay, this is something Luis introduced us to. So we chat all week long. When we are not recording, we talk basically every day, and we're always conversations are just like popping off left and right. We have so many fucking group chats, okay, that we just kind of collect all of these topics that aren't really like feature discussion topics, but they're just like things that we're getting heated about. And you know what? We're going to talk about
life is intervening,
right? Like work,
and we just can't address it then and there.
So we'll kind of put a button on it. We'll say we'll talk about this later, and you know what? We'll gather those and we'll talk about them now. Okay, so this is our new segment. We can talk about this now. A couple of you're probably wondering, man, if you've been on the internet at all this fucking week, you're like, I can't believe they haven't talked about Superman yet. Well, we're going to talk about it now. Okay,
right now.
You guys, they're filming on the streets of what is it, Ohio or something like that? I can't remember where they fucking are.
Metropolis.
I thought you were going to be it's some general metropolitan area.
Metropolitan city.
They're out and about. You guys remember James Gunn released the photo of Superman putting on his boot a couple weeks ago, presumably because they knew we were going to see
really
a lot of
upset the world with that one, didn't he?
Yeah, people were like, he's faster than the speed of light.
I think that was the irony.
Why is he still irony? So we did talk about the suit then when it came out, but now we're seeing more looks as set photos have been coming out.
Yep.
And you and Luis, surprisingly, in the chat have been requesting me to invisible ink these photos. Like you guys don't want to see them. And then at that point, we'll talk about set photos in a second. But Superman, he's out there. He's running around. A few other actors are on scene too. I don't want to talk about those too much. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But Ed, we're looking at the suit. I put the suit in the doc if you haven't pulled up, but you've seen it. What do we think about this suit now that we see him actually running around with it? You seem we
have thoughts, Luis. So we talked about this whenever the official picture released, and whilst that gave us kind of a clear-cut image of the whole persona, it was hard to see certain elements because he was sitting down, leaning over all of that. So yes, we're seeing more kind of full body shots out in the day, so we see all the fine details. Man, I do. So generally speaking, as the silhouette of Superman, I am digging the cape, the collar, the boxers, and the boots. But here's the thing, and this is what we're talking about.
Okay. I was like, so the whole outfit you're into, or
I like the silhouette of it.
Okay.
But I feel like the fit of it, is way too baggy.
Sure.
And I'm not saying it has to be. It's creasing a lot, and the design of the top portion of his suit. I'm assuming it's a one piece beneath the shorts.
Okay.
It looks like a biker's jacket.
Totally.
Like spray painted blue. And I mentioned to you and Luis in our chat, like it felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy jacket that they just converted over. And it's definitely those kind of vibes. And I'm sure, knowing James Gunn and the kind of nerd that he is, I'm sure that's just kind of going to be the general theme and look of this universe. You know what I mean?
I hate that. I definitely listen, the Guardians outfits worked for them, but I definitely 100%. Don't need to see all of these characters look just like that. I don't know if we didn't really talk about it, but there's another character, Mr. Terrific or something like that. I can't remember. It's the other actor, and he's got like that black T on his face. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that photo? I was just like, man, I don't know who this character is. And this is when I started being like, okay, James Gunn was probably super proud of himself for bringing a very low-level Marvel group, Guardians of the Galaxy, and into the main frame. You know what I mean? And people loved those movies, loved those characters. That people talk about them now in a way that no one was doing before. Okay,
right.
And I'm sure he feels very confident in the ability to do that with all of these DC characters now. And maybe like hardcore DC fans are super into it. I am just not. Like maybe the guy that's playing him, I don't know his name. Maybe he's going to do a really great job. I'm not knocking him
David
at all.
Corrin Sweat.
Yeah. No, not Superman. I'm talking about this other character.
Sorry.
T on his face. And I'm not shit talking him at all. I just was like, I don't know who this character is, why it's like 75 different characters, DC characters, are in the Superman movie.
Right.
It seems a little crowded, which is always something we say.
It does a little bit. He does, and he also, and that's the other thing too, is that with the Peacemaker series and the Suicide Squad that he did, there isn't a whole lot of difference tonally between that and the Guardians of the Galaxy. And
very much James Gunn's vibe.
It's going to blur the lines.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, personally, I can't say I'm the most hardcore Superman fan, but I think I love the idea of a good Superman movie than has been practiced, I guess.
Sure.
And so I'm hoping for it to be good, but I also think it should be something special and something, an event movie, which, they're obviously gearing this up to be, but like you said, if it feels just like an extension of Guardians of the Galaxy or the Peacemaker and, James Gunn as a whole, then you're kind of undermining that character and his significance, especially if you're using this as a tentpole movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To kick off your whole new DCU, whatever they're calling it. So I am a little hesitant about that. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me talk about going back to the outfit just real quick. I do want to talk about the thing that I don't like. Okay. And I probably said this. I really don't remember if I sided with Luis about the trunks situation, the boxers.
Yeah, sure.
In general about Superman. I don't like them. I don't think they're necessary. I liked that Henry Cavill's Superman didn't have them, and it still looked like, Superman. Superman, what I would have been fine with these, with the exception of, for some reason, there's belt loops for him to slide his belt through and click in,
Yeah.
I hate that. I would have been fine with the trunks, but there's something about belt loops on your fucking underwear that I'm just like,
okay.
And I know it's not his underwear because it's outerwear, okay?
Right. Exactly.
But it's just, it doesn't make sense to me, and it looks goofy as hell. I'm like, man. I bet you when he's standing around set, just kind of hemming and hawing and kicking back and forth, he's got his thumbs in there in the belt loops, just anyway, just wait.
I imagine when he has to pee,
Oh God, getting out of superhero outfits for movies must be such a pain in the ass.
100% impractical.
Yeah, when you're a regular character in a superhero movie, you must be so grateful as an actor. You're like, oh yeah, I can whip it out and piss right here.
I'm looking at the image now. I see what you mean.
I picked this one specifically because
if it didn't have the loops, I feel like it would still look odd. Maybe I don't know.
Sure,
it's hard to say.
I'll give it to you.
So my biggest thing with the top and maybe the whole thing is just these little rippled, engraved, however you want to call it, armored look.
It's styling, stylization.
I think that's what makes it look like a jacket, and that's what's throwing me off.
Well, it looks,
and then it's the arm fitting that looks a little baggy.
It's like when they give Batman muscles on his suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I know that's
it looks
not
like
Ben
he has
Affleck's
shoulder pads.
Yes, I know that's just padding. I know that's not real.
Right. Whereas Henry Cavill's was skin tight. That was all Henry.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know what David Corden's looks like with his shirt off. I haven't done a lot of Googling on that. I don't know about you, but Henry Cavill was just shredded, dude. He was ready to go. I will say this. I don't think I'm a big Superman fan in general. I did really like Henry Cavill's Superman. I thought he was just kind of perfect for the role.
Yeah,
every time
did him dirty.
They did him dirty. He never showed up and did poorly. Ben Affleck's Batman was another one that I really liked. I just think what they did to him was just not good,
Yeah, no.
And they're just kind of throwing away these almost perfect castings, you know what I mean?
They really are. It's unfortunate, and I'm happy for Henry Cavill to move on. It's a real damn shame that he just never had that one monumental movie.
I mean, you were talking about you like the cape on this guy. Which, by the way, everyone's talking about. He's got the yellow S on the cape too. I don't know how you feel about that.
On the back?
Yeah, have you seen that picture?
No, I haven't seen that actually.
Well, you don't have to Google it. I don't want to spoil it.
No, I don't. I mean, it's there. I don't love that. I know that's like the legacy design.
Yeah.
But no, I don't like a tramp stamp on the cape, all right? S on the front. You don't need to see it on the back.
He's like looking behind his shoulder coyly at you. You're like, huh? Is it super?
Like draping his cape behind him. Look at me. Like, go away.
Like Buffalo Bill, whatever his name is.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Yes, that's an image.
Okay, so we're talking about the Superman suit, but this is the other part. This is a two-parter. For we could talk about this now. I need to know, you and Luis, you guys are very much like, you don't want this movie to be spoiled, which I understand.
Yeah.
You guys were very anti-set photos. Like, I didn't realize what I was doing at first was annoying you guys. I was just sitting because so many were coming up on my feed. And Luis had to be like, Miguel, please stop sending these.
Yeah, I just want to be wary because, yes, I do. This was something that, just for a recent example, I was always worried about with the Batman, but there were always times, any big, highly anticipated movie, you're going to get Game of Thrones,
Sure.
And it just unfolds a whole lot of speculation, and amongst that speculation is going to be spoilers in some capacity or another.
Sure.
And then also in the context, and what I told you this, is like there are some, they're getting pictures of them outside in what is clearly an action set piece.
Right.
Like, and whether, it doesn't matter where that lands in the grand scheme of the movie, because we know there are a lot of characters, as you already said. But yeah, that, those contexts, those scenarios, are all spoiler potential, and that's what I try to be wary of, especially with these movies where expectations are going to be so high, regardless of whether you're a Superman fan or not.
Yeah.
And it trivializes everything. And I'd rather just wait for what I appreciate about James Gunn, and we've mentioned this before, is that at least he's direct and vocal about rumors and what's fact and what's not, especially regarding this film. So I'd rather just have the official thing. Set pics of the costume. Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
but like to Luis's point, I think it's the settings that can potentially be spoilers.
For me, I guess I've always just loved set photos. I just love the behind the scenes feels. I love seeing movies get 100%. Made.
I do too.
And so and I think as a kid, I remember feeling this way, and I'm just now realizing it, why I don't really care so much about these set photos is I like then sitting in the theater and going like, oh wow, like I remember when they were shooting this scene, and you watch it and you kind of go, this is just me, but it's like, I'm seeing David Cornsweet and all of whatever his name is. I'm seeing all of the actors just kind of like stand around. Maybe there's like a pose because they're in the middle of a scene, but then they're just kind of like chatty or whatever. But then when the scene actually happens, you're like, damn, that's what you guys were doing? Like you guys were like acting in this scene. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like movie making magic,
Yeah, I definitely do too. Here's one example. You remember for the Batman, there was a video set leak of the stunt driver of the back pod.
Oh, falling over or whatever?
Falling over.
Yeah.
And knowing the setting was in a graveyard. So part of me in that movie, like when that scene finally happened, I was like, oh yeah, this is and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, exactly. And sometimes it can take you out of it. And like, I 100% agree with you. Like, to your point, like I love that stuff too, but maybe after the fact, like that's a DVD special feature kind of thing.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Well, it's more polished on a DVD feature, right? Like, yeah, I love that too.
We're all having a good time on set.
But let me ask you this. Right. If they were filming down the road from you, okay, whatever movie, it doesn't have to be Superman, okay?
Sure.
But whatever movie, like you would want to go like these people are doing, right? Like it's not just like paparazzi there. It's like crowds are standing right. They've got like lanes blocked off. You're going right up to the rope as far as you can get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like true. I would want to see that happen. I would want to see
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? In person, that shit happen. So I guess I don't know. I'm never upset about set photos.
Sure. And we are talking about it in the context of the internet. Where everything is so overanalyzed. And like I was saying, like, especially if people are familiar with Superman Legacy, obviously I don't know, read that comic book.
Yeah.
So, you know, people, that's the thing, is like people start tying these to canon events or whatever. And there's obviously you can avoid that, but also that's just one thing I'm wary of. So that's my thing. Like, the more of the stuff that comes out, obviously, like, who knows? Soon we'll start seeing like set pics of Nicholas Hoult or whatever. Like, if I saw a set pic of Nosferatu, I'd be a little disappointed. I don't want to see that. I don't want that spoiled for me.
Yeah, I guess you're kind of making a point there, right? Like, these are two different films. Like a big budget superhero movie. How many superhero movies are we going to see in our lifetime? 1,000 more probably.
Yeah.
Like Nosferatu is something special now. You know, and that is like, yes, I don't want to see more of this, and I get your point about that.
Yeah.
This one is just like,
and
I
don't
know
care
about
Superman and it's the same. Yeah, they're not the same, but that's just my perspective on it. And like, yes, I want to see what Superman looks like. You know, we're going to see the trailer for this. Yeah, all of that stuff. We've got so much marketing to face between now and then.
More.
Yeah. So
okay, cool. There you go. Listen, I have a couple more things on here if we want to keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, now listen, Ed, I put this on here because you, me, and Sarah were kind of getting into this on our chat. And I did this because Luis is not here this week, so I thought, okay, let's talk about something that you and I can. Yeah. Let's talk about something that parents have to go through. You're a dad. I'm a dad. We saw this last week. If you're listening, you probably have seen this as well. It went viral. I'm going to pull it up. What you doing there, Ed Bull? Excuse me. So I saw this, I think it was on Twitter or TikTok or whatever, but it was this lady, she did a TikTok where she was like, let's normalize this. That's such a popular, phrase. Let's normalize and then X, you know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Right.
And it's usually, I don't know. I don't want to paint with a broad, brush or whatever, but it's just like, it's usually some bullshit.
That's something that they feel victimized about. And
you're like, okay. So I think they said now this video has been deleted because she got a lot of hate for this, which a part of me was like, was this just rage bait anyway? Was this meant to make me angry? So there was a TikToker who shared a video where she was saying, hey, like, let's normalize people paying their fair share. I think that's what she was trying to say. Paying their fair share of childcare. So she had her daughter or whatever had a play date with another kid at her own house, right? And the other mother dropped the kid off. The kid played for the afternoon or however long, and then came and picked her up and left. And then the mom, the host, texted the other mom and said, hey, can you Venmo me, I think it was $15, $15 for the expenses.
Yeah.
And mind you, this was at her house, right? This wasn't like a going out day. She's like, Sydney, can you Venmo me $15 for the expenses? The mom goes, what expenses? Like, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, she used supplies. I'm going to try to read this to you. She used supplies and food while she was here. And this way we can do this more often without a monetary obligation on just one party. Right. And the other mom comes back and goes, what supplies? And so the host mom responded with a detailed list of various charges, including $1 for sidewalk chalk, $5 for snacks and drinks, because she drank 3 juices while she was there, $3 for 3 trips to the bathroom, and $5 for a broken doll, and $1 charge for, quote, wear and tear for sitting on the family's couch. She said the mother sent her $15 and never texted her again. What do you?
This feels like a reasonable response. I mean, the fact that she sent her money is generous.
I think because it was simply to be like, we're going to go ahead and put this to bed, and we are not going to continue forward with this. Because that other woman understands you pick and choose your battles. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not going to get into it with you, but clearly this is ridiculous, right? I mean, listen. I've taken my kid to play with other kids. We haven't gotten to the point where we've had other kids come here yet. But I mean, like, Ed, your daughter, right? We took her out when we were in Texas a few weeks back, and we were like, "You guys go have fun. We'll take her for the day." Her and my son love playing together. She came over. She swam. We went to a museum. We got lunch. Ed, at any point did I ask you to pay for any of that?
No.
You know why? Because that would be ridiculous. Now, some people were making the argument that, if you are going out, then then I think then maybe it's okay to ask for money or to at least offer to pay for some of that because, hey, you're taking my kid someplace. I want to make sure that everything's good. Mm-hmm. And that is totally okay. But for me and you and I have known each other for almost 2 decades. Like, I love your little girl. You love my son. Like, there's just kind of this unspoken thing for us personally, I think. Like, if you were watching my son, you watched my son while we were in Mexico a few years back. You know what I mean? And I think we sent you money for that, but it's also like we weren't.
Well, which, by the way, we sent you money for that, right? That day.
Oh, she did. Sorry, yeah, okay. She sent that to Kristen. That's why I'm not thinking about that right now. Sorry, that makes me sound like an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to.
No. I was like, I was assured that money was sent.
She did. I think she did send money. Yeah. It's just but it was not expected. Is what I'm saying.
Well, that also like, I think all of our natural reaction was like, if you go out, absolutely, like, because you took my kid to a theme park and you bought him lunch and you drove there, and it's like, okay, like that's definitely $100 right there. You know what I mean? Oh. Yeah, definitely.
It can get really
spending
expensive.
Money, etc., whatever.
Yes,
so everybody feels included or yada yada.
Yes,
but it is just a courtesy, and
but some of these things on this,
there are some things that need to, like, if you do feel strongly about that, then that requires like a little pre-communication
conversation.
Because you're putting people. I mean, again, like the level at which this woman is operating is something else. But like, if that is something that is concerning you, like ahead of time, just like, hey, by the way, and this is what we're gonna do. But like,
listen.
But like the way that she itemized and priced everything, it was like,
come on,
when you go to like a baseball game. Like a kid's baseball game or something, and everything is just like, well, we'll just call this $1. This Capri Sun is $1. Whatever. You know what I mean?
It's very arbitrary. It's like, where did you come up with that price?
Exactly. Because if you want to break down shit, like, I'll get the price of a chalk. Or
we'll do it right now. So this pack from Walmart was, $3.
This 6-pack that you claim to have been. I looked up your couch, by the way.
your ugly ass couch. Okay, so we're going to talk about your couch. You want to talk about the couch? The wear and tear, the going to the bathroom, like there's. Listen,
it's intrusive. It's like, almost.
It's like, hey, listen, if you need money, like, just say, you need some money. Like, I'll throw you a little money.
$15 is that much to you?
No, that's the thing. And listen, people are going through life. Sometimes $15 is a lot of money. And sometimes $15, any amount of money that I have to spend can be detrimental. You know what I mean? Some people are going through that, and I'm not shaming them for that. But to me, and this is why I think the other mom just sent the money. You know what I mean? Because it's like, here you go, and don't ever talk to me again about this.
100%.
Like, I mean, you have to assume. I'm just speculating here. that other kid is never coming over again. My mom would shut that shit down immediately as a kid. Are you kidding me? There would definitely be times when my mom would be like, yeah, you're not seeing that person again. You know what I mean? Especially over something like this. If they're being kind of petty about it, like, yeah. And the way she framed it, like, I mean, you know, that way we all don't have to, we can share the cost of this whole thing. And it's never just on one side. And it's like, but if you come over today, right? If your kid comes over to my house today and uses all this stuff, and then the next time my kid goes over there, it's just kind of like an unspoken thing, right? Like, right. I spent a little here, you spent a little there. What's the big deal? You know what I mean?
We're trying to, if anything, like, I don't know.
The trips to the bathroom also. It's like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
Like I said, that's just intrusive.
You want my kid to just piss on your floor? Would you rather that? Because he'll do it. You know,
send him outside or whatever. I don't know.
Hose him off.
What is the alternative to that? Like, you are leaving people with absolutely no choice. You're just like, and I feel sorry for that kid. Like,
the kid also, like, you just imagine all of a sudden they're going to be like, Mommy, why don't my friends ever come over anymore? You know what I mean? And listen, there's a balancing act. Like, I don't want my kid to. I've known people that are like, I buy my kid, you know, the name brand everything because I want them to be cool. You know what I mean? That's not what I want for my kid. You know,
right?
I want my kid to be a good person. You know,
right?
But I also don't want them to be ostracized for petty BS. You know what I mean? Like, no. I don't, because of my actions, my kid's gonna have to suffer because of that. I just couldn't fathom a world in which I would ever do that. I mean, when I was reading or watching the TikTok and she was talking about, you know, shared expenses, this is before I found out it's $15. I was telling you guys this. If I picked up my kid from, you know, some house and they texted me talking about expenses, I was telling you guys, I would be so worried that he broke something. Like, he knocked over the fucking 55-inch TV, and now I have to buy you a new TV. You know, it's like, I don't, you know, hundreds of dollars all of a sudden being spoken about. But when she came back and it was like $15, I was like, you know what? This is a cost of doing business. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the verbiage too. Is the, you know, it's the making it so technical. You know what I mean? It's just like, we're just like not looking at play dates that way. You know what I mean?
No,
this wasn't a transaction. If anything, to make sure our kids are entertained. Like, that's what we're getting into. Yes. Like, if we're hosting a kid, if you're taking like somebody's kid or whatever, you're like, you know what, you should know what you're getting into. That is, like, you're, you know, a little extra work, but also at the same time, your kid is being entertained.
You are not necessarily entertaining both of these kids. Now, maybe sometimes you have to.
Exactly.
But it's like,
it's just
the idea is they're playing.
Give and take that is just so, and I like, you know, it's unfortunate that this is what, and like, I mean, I hope it wasn't just for the sake of like rage, whatever you called it.
Yeah. Rage bait.
Yeah, because guess what, it was very
you both got heated. I was surprised. That really like lit up the chat. I was really grateful because I was like, I feel like I'm alone in this right now and I need someone to talk to about
I mean, you know? But if you're inviting that kind of feedback, but I mean, come on, wake up. Like, that is some Trump ass shit, right?
I'm telling you too. Also, that other mom, I bet you she would. There's also a possibility that she would be like, "Yeah, we'll do another play date, and your kid can come over to my house." And at the end of that date, you know, play date, here's your kid back.
Is there a receipt?
Or not being petty at all, and just being like, "Yeah, she had a good time. I hope she, wants to come back. Bye." You know,
it's like, actually, we use quilted northern. It's a little more expensive, you know. Sorry.
I'm just like, there's no world in which I would ever ask someone, especially for that little money. And I don't mean to sound privileged, but it's just like,
no, I mean, it's not. That's the thing.
It doesn't seem like a lot of money.
Like, normalize just having people over. You know what I mean?
Be grateful that your kid is socializing.
It's like when you have people over for dinner, if they ask me like, hey, can I bring something? You know what? Yeah, if you wouldn't mind bringing a bottle of wine or grabbing some beer, if anything, you're just saving me an extra trip or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll
I will say this though. I will say this, Ed. You have asked me for some things for whatever.
Respectfully, Miguel, it's because you and I have known each other.
We know each other. So you'll be like, hey, here's a list. Can you run by the store?
I will send you.
I got you, bro.
I will send you on an errand.
You fucking will. You sometimes have been like, can you pick me up an orange? And you're like, an orange? Like, what are we gonna do with that one orange, bro?
I mean,
you know what I'm talking about too.
I can't even deny it. Yeah,
I bet I'm not even the only one.
You know what it is? It's just like, I was probably making old fashions.
Because and it's also transactional because you're like, listen, Miguel, you want an old fashioned? I know you do. Why don't you go ahead and pick up one of the biggest
do you
oranges?
Want a good one, or do you just want
or do you just want whiskey and some ice?
Yeah,
a little bit of spit.
Also, I need you to grab ice.
And I don't mind doing those things. I've known you for a very long time. I just could not imagine. And yeah, if I'm going to an event, I just feel like the general rule, right, is like you just don't show up empty-handed. So even if I ask and I'm told don't bring anything, I'm going to bring something little that I feel like I'm contributing so that it's like I'm not going to be rude. You know what I mean?
Because our parents taught us better.
Come on, Come on. And I could not believe. I'm so glad we were able to talk about this.
Yeah,
I think Luis sort of had a fun time talking to us about it, but it's not quite the same. And so I wanted to.
No, it was a nice little rile up. I can't remember what morning that was, but yeah, I was just like, let me just stop everything real quick and get my
hold on.
out with this.
I know. I kept expecting my boss to come out and be like, "Can you get off your phone?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, dude. Right. It's just like shit's going down."
Have you seen this shit?
No, my boss wouldn't understand at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I promise I will never, unless it's something like, we're going out.
For the most, like, the normal thing that you would ask for. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on.
Like, imagine, like, there's this, like, moms like to get together on the play dates as well and have wine while their kids play. Imagine if the mom was like, and then that was a $35 bottle of wine and you had 4 glasses, you lush. And, that's going to go ahead and come down to, X number of dollars. And you're just like, damn, I didn't realize we were doing that,
Right. Yeah, totally.
I feel bad. Feel bad for the kids. Guys, just try not to be petty in your lives in general. Yeah. Just try, if you
give a person a heads up if you're going to charge them for something later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. I think I'd be furious. I would just be like, she said, how much money?
I would go to the bank and get 15 ones.
Oh, pennies, baby. We would be. There you go. I'd throw them at her too. Where they all just to bend down
and a dollar bill sign
just to
on it.
Bend down and pick them all up off the ground. Be like, here, bitch, take it. And I'd squeal off in my car. No, this riled me up. This riled me up too.
It's like therapeutic to get it out. It's because me, I'm not like one to admit I'm wrong right away, but like I was just like, no, this woman is wrong. I'm mad about it. I'm good and mad about it.
You know what? I'm going to ask my parents about this too. Next time I talk to them, I'm going to be like, hey, did you hear about this? Like, what would you have done? Just real quick, Becky Sanchez, what would you have done? You know what I mean?
I guess I'll say it right now. As far as I'm aware, my mom didn't get an itemized receipt. You know what I mean? No, that's crazy. Wild.
Well, I have one more. I guess there's one more little topic here. We don't really have to get into this. I've been getting into a little bit of country music. All right, I have recently turned over a new leaf, you guys, and I've started just kind of branching out musical genres a little bit more. I feel like there's 2 or 3 that I'm kind of very comfortable with that I listen to pretty regularly. But for some reason, I've kind of started country music. I've gone on a kick of country.
Skipped right over movie scores.
I tell you what, Ed, you put together that fun little playlist a year or so ago when I was getting on a plane of scores, and I listen to that frequently. Actually,
I need to add to it.
Feel free. I do have fun listening to that, and it's saved, downloaded, so that when I am on a plane, you know what I mean. I've got some like we did this road trip a couple weeks ago. My wife and son, if they fall asleep in the car, it's like, okay, like I'll just like play some music for a little bit. and it's nice. But I did branch out. This really stems back to maybe a year or so ago. My brother-in-law and his wife, we were running to the grocery store while I was in Texas, and they turned on a song, and it was Morgan Wallen and hold on, it's coming to me. Hold on, Ed, you don't know who this is. It's going to come to me. Oh my God, fuck. His brother died. He's got the big eyes. He was on that Drake song. Why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, I'm going to look it up. The song is called Broadway Girls. It's Morgan Wallen and Lil Durk, obviously. And so Lil Durk is a rapper, and the song itself had this kind of like rap beat to it. And then all of a sudden Morgan Wallen is like
talking
singing
about Old Town Road, are we?
No. That's Lil Nas X, okay? Which I was also super into that song, but that was a little different. That was like him playing at country. Kind of the way that this sounds disrespectful. Kind of the way that Post Malone is like transitioning into a country album. He's about to put out a country album. That's like a musical artist that's like playing with a genre right now. And I mean that in the most respectful sense. Like they are using their sensibilities to try Beyonce something new. Yes, I think that can be really fun.
Post Malone was in a Beyonce track, I want to say.
He might have been. That sounds right. But he's about to come out with a country album. He's put out a couple country songs, and that has also stoked the flames of this like country revolution that I'm having. But anyway, about a year ago, I was in the car with my brother-in-law, and they were playing the song Broadway Girls, and I had to ask them when Morgan Wallen started singing. I was like, "Is this a country song?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, it was kind of lit, dude. I'm going to send it to you, okay? I'll send it to you after the podcast and you can hear it. And you'll probably roll your fucking eyes. And listen, people that are like hardcore country people, like, I'm not trying to rock the boat on whether you like these people or not. You know what I mean? But some of these songs come along and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of having a good time. Earlier this week, Luke Combs. Do you know who that is, Ed?
I do now, thanks to you.
Okay. Do you know what he looks like? Could you like close your eyes and be like, or you could pick him out of a lineup? Lucas.
No, actually, can I just describe to you before I look him up?
Okay.
I think I think he's like a slightly taller than average guy. I think he's well built. I think he's got
what do you mean well built?
Like muscular.
Okay.
Broad shoulders.
Sure.
I picture him with a very well groomed beard, not too long, very short, close to the grain. And I'm gonna go with like brunette, maybe a kiss of sunlight.
Ooh.
And I'll go blue eyes.
Cool. Now look him up.
All right. Is he fat?
Look him up. Look him up. Luke
right?
Combs. Yeah, like a comb of a hair. I'm gonna wait.
I can't wait now. Yeah, I was spot on.
Spot on. I'm not body shaming Luke Combs whatsoever, but man, you could not have been more. When you were like clean cut beard, I was like, he's got maybe the rattiest looking beard I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, that's a country like beard, right there.
Full head of hair. You're like, he wears a lot of hats. So
he's like here at the like some music fucking award show in a nice.
Ed, do you remember a few months ago, probably now? You remember Tracy Chapman? She had that song, "You Got a Fast Car." I got a, you know what I mean? He covered that was a very popular song in like the 80s or 90s.
Oh, okay.
And
it's an old song. Okay,
yeah, and he covered that song, and there was a whole big discussion of he like put that song back on the charts because of his like rendition of it. And there was a lot of people talking because she's a lesbian black woman and he's like a straight white male country music singer. And people were having the conversation of like, you know, he's kind of like what's the word? I'm blanking on the word, but like he's stealing that shine for himself kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
What's that called? I can't think of the word right now, but he, and whatever, you made me think about this, whatever country music, whatever show earlier, a couple months back, he brought her out and they sang that song together. Nice. And it was a really great performance. And people were super charged up when she came out and sang it. It's a really great video. You should watch it.
I think that's always I don't know. Like I said, it's so easy to trivialize everything these days. I think that music renditions have been happening since the beginning of music.
Right? I mean,
that's the joy.
Whitney Houston did Dolly Parton's song. You know what I mean? And it
Taylor
was
Swift
arguably one of the greatest songs
all the
ever.
time.
Yeah,
like
you should watch that video though, because Luke Combs, like whenever she starts singing, like the look in his eyes while he's watching her perform. Oh my god, sorry. While he's watching her perform is so sweet. You can tell he like he admires her. Yeah, and it's such a
What was the song called again?
Oh god, it's Tracy Chapman. Fuck, you throw me.
I'll just write Luke Combs, Tracy.
Fast Car. It's called Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Fast Car. And and it's not a country song at all, but then he covered it and it kind of gave it that color. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was very popular for a while. But yeah, no, anyway, so a year or so ago, I started kind of like telling myself, hey, be more open to country music. If you hear something you like don't be afraid or whatever to listen to it, you know, because I've always been kind of like, no country, you know, I'm not going to do that. But it's just like, you're shutting yourself off to this like whole genre of music. Yeah. And it's like, it's okay if it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's okay if I don't like every single song.
There's a generalized version of every genre of music. You know what I mean?
You can find what works for you.
Exactly. Like, you just got to peek behind. Like, everybody says they hate jazz, but that's because they've only heard maybe one kind of lame ass jazz their whole life.
I've never hated jazz. I like jazz.
Okay, good, great. But same with country music. There are some people that I like in the country world, like Dolly Parton being one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Nelson, Willie Nelson, you know, Hank Williams, like Johnny Cash. I know those are kind of like the big names and I'm generalizing, but those are just the ones I know. But like you said, I mean, people are dipping their toes in. I enjoy it when, you know, we do get like a mix of genres. I think that's what is music for if you can't do that? And no, I think there's something to find in every realm. And it really just comes down to kind of like the songs that you like and stuff like that. You, Miguel, I know you to be somebody who pays attention to lyrics, you know, whereas I feel like I listen more to music itself and catch on to the lyrics later. So yeah, I think everybody approaches music differently, and I mean, there are some dumb fucking pop songs that I love. I've got some guilty pleasures out there, man.
Right?
Like, you think I'm not driving home from work belting out ballads left and right?
Oh, come on. You know? Come on. You hate Ed Sheeran? I love Ed Sheeran. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, I have yet to find that Ed Sheeran song, but like, you know, we were talking about, what's his name? What's his name? The guy that you and Kristen love. Watermelon Sugar Cunt.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. Which I hate that song, Watermelon Sugar High.
I love that song.
But there's one song that I genuinely like.
As It Was?
No, Late Night Talking.
Late Night
Talking. I like As It Was fine. But yeah, like Late Night Talking is mine. But like, we all, you know, you and I grew up in the early 2000s, man. We have some like shitty songs that we adore. But yeah, no, it's just like the nature of it. So it was a surprise, and when you texted me about it, you know, part of me did roll my eyes a little bit.
I told you would. You know?
I was a little afraid, and you know, like listening to that. I can't remember the name of the song that you got me to listen to, but like I understood immediately why you did like it.
Yeah,
as I said, you're a lyrics man.
Yeah,
but also it was like on that first musical note, I was just like, well, it definitely sounds like the
it's
country
twangy.
songs.
It's twangy.
It is twangy.
I know.
Yeah, that's the great thing about country music is that it has its own adjectives.
Yeah.
one of his main ones is twangy.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that country? Oh, what do you call it? Twang?
Twang. You even have to say it with an accent. Yeah. And what's crazy is I talked about this song a lot this week to a few different people. And I had to preface it. Like, I think at one point I was like, hey, by the way, there's also like a NASCAR reference in this song. Like, please don't judge me for that. It's not, it's like more of the theme of the song in general what I'm connecting to, not necessarily that one moment.
Checkered flag.
Yeah. So it's Luke Combs, and it's a song called
and there's definitely a mention of beer, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yep. Buddy. Tell me why. So this is a Luke Combs song. Tell me why I started looking him up to see, like, maybe he's got some other songs. I went on YouTube last night, and he has not one but two different big songs that talk about cold beer in the title of the song. And it's like, one is like a frosty beer, and the other one's like a beer after a day. You're like,
pick a conversation other than beer, the back of your truck, and
dog, whatever. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of sentimentality.
Of course it is
in country music, and
country music is so sentimental.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's what this song, "The Man He Sees in Me," is it came across my Instagram feed at some point, and I like ran to Spotify to listen to it because it's all about like him as a dad, and his little boy growing up, and hoping that he's like he's just wanting to be what his kid sees him as. You know what I mean? He wants to be good like that. And man, I tell you, like, I was just listening to it. And I was just getting choked up listening to it because I've got a son, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's just one of those. It's just like you just like hyper, you know what I mean? Relate to it.
No, of course, I get it. Absolutely.
So then I just kind of went down like a rabbit hole of like country songs.
I'm looking
about,
through
like,
his songs now. Yeah, there's one called "Refrigerator Door."
Come on,
beer never broke my heart.
Beer never broke my heart.
Ain't that the truth?
Hell yeah. That's in parentheses. Ain't that the truth? No, I just like, and that's why I think it's so fun that Post Malone is doing a country album right now. Yeah. I'll send you a couple of those songs.
He did. Right? Yeah, I looked it up. He did have a song with Beyonce called Levi's. That's like, you need to, I want you now. I should. To that album. Because it's a tootin' scootin' good time.
Okay, I'll put it on. I'll listen to it. I'm having fun listening to artists that are playing in a different genre, and I'm also enjoying going back now and like seeing the hits, the icons.
I'm going to send you and Kristen. I feel like Kristen might, generally speaking, in the years that we've all known each other, like Kristen, at least she's been nice enough to give my music a listen, but like there are some songs that I feel like she and I align with sooner than you and I align with. Sure, and that's fine. But that's that again. It's just like because there are songs that you and I love. Yeah, that I'm sure she's just like what.
No, you know what's great.
So did I tell you, Sarah? Just real like quick anecdote. Leading up to Dune Part 2 coming out, I was jamming out to a lot of but yeah, I mean basically and there was that one track that I shared with you and Louise that I was like, this slaps, and it was like the House Atreides track from the sketchbook of the album. And when Sarah and I were on our way to go see that, I played that song.
Yeah,
she was like, "This is what you've been jamming out to." I was just like, "Yeah." but I found out later they're not bagpipes, but the bagpipes, are so incredible. If you haven't listened to that sketchbook album, listen to House Atreides by Hans Zimmer. It's fucking incredible. Anyway, go ahead.
In the same vein, I played this song. So when I heard this Luke Combs song, I was just like really taken by it, and I played it for Kristen while we were cooking dinner, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, well yeah, whatever." Tell me why we left dinner tonight. We went out tonight, on our way home, I played it again in the car radio, and I'm just like, yeah, I could tell she wasn't like super into it last time, so I was like, okay, it's just for me listening to it. And the song's wrapping up, and for some reason I turn over to her, like I guess I'm checking my mirror or something, and I look over and I'm like, are you crying right now? And she was like, tears in her eyes. Crying, and I was like, so this is a good song. Yeah, I wasn't wrong. Okay, like I knew we would relate to this, you know. And even though it's like a dad and son song, like she understood, because we're going through this whole like he's growing up phase right now, and I think that's what kind of sparked it all as well.
Sure.
But yeah, you know, it's, hey, I'm having a good time. I'm into it. I would go see some artist. I wish Post Malone was, if he comes to Colorado with this country tour, I'll definitely go see it. I kind of want to go to Texas and see it with Kyle and Kaylee as well.
Talking about tours right now, one of my favorite artists, Nathaniel Rateliff, he came out with another album.
You've seen him so many times.
I've seen him twice. He's coming out with an album, and we're already talking about seeing him in October when he comes to Houston. But you know, he's a native Coloradian.
I wanted you guys to come up to that Red Rocks show last year bad. I haven't gone to Red Rocks yet.
Okay. Well, do you think you would that be something that you would check out?
Would I come down to Houston for it? Is that what you're asking me?
No. Would you see him in Colorado?
Yeah, I would. And we're finally getting to like the space where we can have babysitters and people we trust to watch our son and things like that. So now it's like those nights seem a little more doable right now.
Right.
So and I definitely, it's been so long, Ed. I don't know if you remember, there was like that run before we were parents and before COVID, like we were seeing shows kind of a lot. Yeah. And it's so fun. It's one of my favorite ways to just like kind of soak in, you know what I mean, content. Like a live musical performance can be so fun. Even if it's a show, I've said so many times how I did not want to go see that Coldplay show. I did not give a shit about Coldplay. And then they turned me into a believer by the end of that concert. It was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. I would go see them in the Sphere so bad. That's the other thing, is I want to go to the goddamn Sphere in Vegas. We were talking about this at Father's Day weekend. And I was like, I really want to go see a show there. And this is just between us. The Eagles are playing the Sphere later this year, and we were talking about maybe having Chuck and Tammy, my in-laws, fly up to Colorado to watch The Boy
so you could go to the Sphere and see
a few days while we go to Vegas and see
them. It sounds like Chuck would want to be a part of that.
But that was what we came around to, was like Chuck loves that. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll ask my parents to come up and watch the Boy, but my dad loves the Eagles too, you know what I mean?
When is it?
It's later this year sometime. It's like in October, September, October, I think.
So it is this year, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I have to be careful. I would
come up there in a heartbeat, Miguel.
I know. You're busy. You're a little busy this year. Yeah.
Yeah, a little busy.
And when I talked about like her uncle and his girlfriend live up here, and she was like, yeah, but that's like multiple days. Anyway, yada yada. That's all that. But we are thinking about going, and I would love to go see any show in the Sphere. Besides you.
Oh yeah, 100% from the sounds of it. Just give me that tab and point me in the direction. You know.
Come on.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Miguel has discovered new music, and may he continue to broaden his horizons.
Let's go. I'm doing musicals next week.
Miguel, I might
no.
Squeal with glee.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Well, hey, but even with musicals, I'm very particular about the kind of musicals I like. You know, I'm not like Broadway. I like classical musicals in the lamest sense.
I'll never forget. I tell this story a lot, and it's better if you know him. But I will never forget, and we can wrap up. We're going long. Sorry, Luis. I will never forget Mike Lindauer, us being at work that day, and him being like, well, my favorite musical is Les Mis.
Yeah.
And I was like, you are like the jockiest, athletic, like dude I've ever met in my life. You do not strike me like you would even know what a musical. And you were like, well, my favorite one is.
That man is a contradiction.
He surprises me. That's why I liked him so much. I'm like, all right, dude.
The favorite is Willy Wonka.
Come on.
And I'm just like, Laban's wrong.
We got to get him on the pod sometime and ask him about this.
Because I remember you sat through Les Mis, as I recall, right?
I wanted to blow my left nut off, all right? Fuck my life. And they were like, oh, look at them. These actors that can't sing are singing right now. Great. Fucking love it. Having a great time.
I'll tell you this, like, when I watched that movie in the theater, it had the impact that it needed to.
Sure.
I was crying
basically she won the Oscar.
from the get-go. And she won the Oscar, and rightly so. But I have not been able to go back and finish that movie.
No, of course not, because it's a piece of shit movie. That's why.
The musical is great, but no, it's hard to translate that to film.
Do you remember what we're getting rant all night? We should wrap this up. But I just like when Hamilton was big, I was like, I can't get into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not for me.
But that was different. That was like a stage recording, like a performance recording.
That's when I learned I did not like Lin-Manuel Miranda
in Hamilton.
Because I was like, oh. I don't like this. This is what you're popular for? You're going to do more of this? I don't like this.
Maybe that's all he does.
I was like, I just don't understand. They were white in real life. No.
Anyway, don't stop rapping. What is
it's
happening?
Like,
why do I walk away liking the King of England? No, I'm actually a fan of Hamilton. When I finally saw it, I was just like, wow.
That's good.
Like, I get it. But we've also talked about how tired I am of that.
Yeah.
Linny Manny thing going on right now. But anyway, let's wrap it up.
We're at an hour and a half. We did good. I mean, we went longer than I expected.
We didn't even have a feature discussion. But no, I think we did Louise proud. We had a ton of trailers. We tried to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what he says.
Yeah, he might just not publish.
He's like, guys, we're just gonna not do this episode.
Yeah, this is too much work for me, and I can't be bothered. But yeah, no, this is a good one. A nice little fun time. Sometimes we don't need to be serious all the time.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, so join us next week. I don't think we have a feature discussion as of yet. We might catch up with House of the Dragon, which we didn't mention this week. But
let's just really quickly. I promised Eric that we would talk House of Dragon. We would sprinkle just a little bit in each episode because Luis told him we were going to do a mid-season review and a season finale review, but we're not really going to talk about it a lot. And then I came back and contradicted him and said, "No, we'll do it just for you, Eric." Okay.
All right.
So we'll just like a quick 10 seconds, just thumbs up.
Episode 2.
Yeah. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, I'm having a great time. I am enjoying these characters. I can't believe that they are making a spinoff work. This is like, I said this previously, this is like my Better Call Saul. You know what I mean? Like where I'm seeing a spinoff be just as good as the original show. So far. Yeah. We'll see. I will say this, and we can talk about this really quickly. The whole twin battle, the whole battle of the twins, Eric and Eric. Shout out Eric. Okay. What a shit show that was. It was a good fight, don't get me wrong, and I understood the whole balance of it all, but when it happened I immediately rolled my eyes. I was like, okay.
I did too, especially just like you saw it happening. You know what I mean? Like, how else were they gonna do that scene? And
what I was saying was like, sorry, go ahead.
I will say just quickly that I did get to rewatch that episode as a whole, and the emotional level that those two guys brought to that scene, I thought really struck a chord, because the way it ends is pretty fucking brutal. Yeah, and I think they did a really good job, because they're not two characters that we know a lot about. They became enough prominent in one episode of season 1. Yeah, and enough. They're split loyalties, but like, man, they like established real quick just how much they loved each other, and how bitterly torn they were about that. And that the build up was good. The the payoff was good. Like, it was a good little action bit. But yes, like, predictable, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Bit of foreshadowing, though. A great way to say, like, families are battling. You know what I mean? Like, there's no one, no matter how strong your bond is, that's going to walk away unscathed.
And you know, Rhaenyra is having a tough time right now.
Yeah, she is. I can't wait to see. How it goes. All right, we won't overtalk it.
Yeah. No, it was a solid episode. I will just say real quick, like, you know, I haven't been like a huge fan of how a lot of these characters have been set up throughout the series so far, but I did think this was like Otto Hightower's shining moment. Really nailed it. Yeah. And yeah, I just look forward to more. You
were also saying how much you really enjoy Kristen Cole and how he's the best character in the show.
Man, like, I wake up and look in the mirror every day and say, I wish I was Sir Kristen Cole, Hand of the King. Yeah. All
right, that's our episode. Look at us.
No. We're done. Just for my legacy, that is not true. Like, I don't need that taken out of context. No, man, God, what a sniveling piece of shit. Yeah, man,
that's our episode.
I will say this. I will say how hilarious it is that the internet is just so riled up.
We all hate him. We all
hate him. Like, yeah, he is that character.
He's not even bad like Joffrey or what's his name with the pit bulls and he married Ramsay. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not bad like those, but he's just like if he was invited to the get together, you'd be like, oh
my God.
This fucking guy.
This guy. No, 100%. I mean, yeah, but it's also just like so obvious. And
yeah,
that's exactly who that character is supposed to be, I assume. But yeah, like they're not being shy about it. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but like with Joffrey, baby Joffrey and Ramsay, you know, you kind of love to hate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cersei too, like Cersei. You love to hate Cersei,
but you just hate Kristen Cole.
You just kind of hate Kristen Cole. Maybe you'll have a cool moment, but probably not. Who knows? But yeah, good episode. Shout out to Eric and Eric. R.I.P. Yeah. So anyway, that wraps it up for this week.
That's it.
We might be talking more about House of the Dragon. Like I said, we don't have a feature discussion as of yet, but we will have Luis back, and we will find something to talk about. But until then, it's been me, Ed Ball, and
Miguel Sanchez.
There you go. And until next time, I see you. That's it.